What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to the Mets PostGame Show right here on the channel as well. Yeah, I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. That was I I couldn't even predict it or even give you like, oh, this will happen. Like we knew it was going to be bad, but I mean, this was just downright ridiculous. I had to laugh, but I have to laugh. Like, how much angrier can I get? Like, you want to talk about the game? Okay. Juan Soto had a home run in the ninth, a useless home run. God, I just, boy, oh boy. All right. So Mets lose 4-1. They get swept by the Guardians. Lost 8 of their last 9. 1-5 homestand. Now facing the team with the best record in the National League in the Milwaukee Brewers. Yeah, explosive. You know what? I wanted the kid to get it. Like, we knew we were losing this game. Soto hit the home run. We knew nothing was going to happen. Like, I was hoping he got it. Why not? They haven't had it in, what, 44 years, they said, for Cleveland? God, I just don't. Oh, my God. Well, that lineup change didn't work, did it, guys? This is terrible. Uh, it's so hard to get upset right now. It really is. It really is. Like, oh man, I just don't know what to say. I really don't, guys. Like, I'm baffled. Right, Gavin Williams, he had really good stuff. Right, you could tell. Right, his fastball was electric. His fastball had giddy up on it. All his pitches were working. So, like, it was working for him. But my God, it was just bad. It's not like we had to worry about runners in scoring position today. We didn't have to worry about that. We really didn't have to worry about that, Mets fans. So I don't even know where to go, right? David Peterson, and again, this is what I have to say, right? Even in a bad start, he gave you 6 innings, right? That is a manly job from David Peterson, right? He didn't pitch well, but he gave him 6 innings, right? But this is the problem that I continue to have with the Mets and their stupid philosophy. You can't rely on David Peterson to be the only one giving you length because he's not always going to pitch good, right? He's human. And to expect it every time out is a problem. And Peterson's not obviously pitching in his next series. So, like, I just, like, we expect so much from him. But let's be honest, guys, Peterson should have been on number 3 this year, right? It was supposed to be Minaya and Senga, you know, doing what they need to do in the rotation. Obviously, they're both back, but they've been injured. But David Peterson should have been number 3 with Montas and Holmes as your 4-5. Treating Peterson what he isn't is the problem with the situation I talked about from day one. And the offense is the offense. Like, I don't know what we could have done in the offseason besides getting Juan Soto. I don't know what Q did at the trade deadline to fix this offense. I don't know. I just don't know. Like, there's nothing that we can where anybody could say, well, we should have got this guy that would have helped the offense. Because even if that guy was hitting, you still need Lindor, Alonso, and Nimmo. Even if you didn't go get Soto and you got somebody else. Like, how much is it going to make the difference? Like, if those guys are not hitting, it's pointless. Regardless if you got Soto or not. If you would have brought in somebody else. Like, those guys at the top are not doing the job. And we just, nothing can happen. Nothing can happen. So, I'm just beyond annoyed right now. Like, it's hard to get the words out because I'm just sitting there like, are you kidding me? That's basically the whole game. Are you kidding me? And Doug Craig Swan was an ace. But this is what we're talking about. We shouldn't be talking about David Peterson needing to be an ace of this team. We shouldn't be talking about that. Like, we shouldn't be talking about that. And that is the lack of doing something in the offseason at the deadline for starting pitching, right? Anybody in their right mind knew Clay Holmes wasn't going to get through a season and pitch well and not be gassed when he got to the most innings he's pitched in his career. Everybody knew Montas, even if he was a solid average pitcher, wasn't going to make him anything more than a number 4, and he's barely a rotation guy now. And relying on Shomanaya, who just got back, relying on Kodai Senga, who, good luck trying to, count on him. There's nobody to count on. Like, it's just the problem. It's just the overall problem that I think is completely just making a problem worse, right? Again, the offense is a big problem. But I still feel like you're giving this team no hope. What is the point of a bullpen in a game like today? What is the point of Rogers and Soto and Helsley and Diaz and Garrett? What's the point of that bullpen? If the starters aren't going to do their job, the offense is going to do their job. So you brought these names in here for what? To have mop-up duty? To sit in the bullpen and just, take in a good game? It's just crazy. Like, it's just all around stupid. This team needed more. Right? Regardless of what you want to talk about when it comes to what the offense needs to do, we all know what the offense needs to do. The offense needs to figure it out. But again, I just don't know what to do with the offense. Right? I don't see any help from beyond, from the trade deadline or anybody from the farm system. They're not bringing anybody from the farm system that's quote unquote ready, that they're willing to bring up to help the offense. And even then, I don't think it's going to help, because again, what do we have to do here? We know what they have to do. Those guys at the top have to hit. So oh man. I just, well, Tim, isn't Gavin Williams ECU alum? Is that what they said on the broadcast? I know you're a big ECU fan, so yeah, my holy, scored 2 or 3 runs. Great, we still lose. Like that's the thing, guys. Other than yesterday, when it was 3-2, it's not like we gave up 2 or 3 runs. You know what I'm saying? We would give up 5 runs and 4 runs. Like, it's not a lot, but again, like it turns into one inning, like 1 or 2 innings that blow up for pitchers. And again, they're constantly behind. And I don't know. Like, I don't know. Yeah, Alex, I'm going to keep on talking about the pitching because the pitching sucks. Again, why talk about the offense when it's the same guys we talk about that have to change it? That's the problem. Like, tell me who's going to help this team. Can you find somebody? Because at the trade deadline, who are you going to find? You say Eugenio Suarez. We have 14 third basemen on the roster now. So that didn't make no sense. They didn't trade anybody on the roster. So there's your problem when it comes to position players. So you couldn't do anything about it. That's the problem. Like, if there was somebody you can pinpoint and say, great, I want this guy. This could help the offense. And again, don't bring up Eugenio Suarez because it doesn't make sense. It didn't make sense unless you're going to completely trade a lot of guys off your roster, especially infielders, and maybe a prospect or two to get Eugenio Suarez here. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So that's out of the question. There was nobody out there that was going to help this offense. David, fire Chavez. What is he going to do? I don't think he's going to do anything. Like, too many people are obsessed with the scapegoat in Eric Chavez, right? The main problem is the guys at the plate. They're the problem. If you think Eric Chavez getting fired is going to change this lineup over 115 games of bad offense, go right ahead. Do it. Yeah, but Alex, that's wrong. You yes, it was addressed. It was addressed. No, Alex, don't talk about top 5 or 6 in the league. All right, they don't have enough innings to even warrant that. All right, and a lot of it was because of the first 2 months of the year. So I don't want to hear that the pitching's been good. Like, stop it. Like, please, I don't want to hear the pitching is good. If you watch the game every day, you know the pitching is not good. Like, just because Senga has just over 2 ERA, he's a great pitcher? No, he's not. Again, combined with innings and ERA is what should be talked about. Not their 4th or 5th. Oh, great. No, we know how bad they are. It's talked about not just by fans, but on the broadcast, on any national broadcast. It's a problem. Like, who are we going to get? We got the best hitter on the market in Juan Soto. There was nobody better on the market than Juan Soto. No matter what he's doing, nobody knew he was going to do this. Getting him in the offseason was the best hitter on the market. Yes, the hitting is worse, but you couldn't predict that. Nobody in their right mind would predict that Juan Soto coming into this lineup when everybody was goo goo gaga for Grimace and OMG, that this lineup would be worse than last year. You added Juan Soto. You were hoping. I think the bigger problem is Mark Vientos and Alvarez, who shit the bed earlier in the season, because I think it completely changed the lineup, and then it put even more pressure on the top 4 guys when you should have had 6 guys in this lineup to make it deeper. And those 2 guys suck, and then those guys have more pressure. And you know what? They should be able to handle it. There's not one guy making less than $25 million in that top 4. So they're all to blame. They're all overpaid. They're all overhyped. You feel better? I killed the offense. But the one thing you could have changed was the starting pitching. You could have actually overpaid to get a better starter in here. Again, because you can't have David Peterson be the only guy. You can't. I'm sorry. You want to kill me about the me talking about pitching? Go right ahead. I said it from day one, and I'm going to continue to say it. I said it for 115 games. It's a problem. Right? Nobody gave a shit in April and May when they were the best pitching staff in baseball, but it was very early on in the season, and they were very rested. Now they're not, and they're not very good pitchers. There's nobody you can trust on the mound in any big game, including David Peterson, because he's supposed to be a number 3 in this rotation. In a really good rotation, David Peterson's a 4. Let's be honest here. He's pitching damn well this year, but we're making it a lot more better than it is because our rotation absolutely sucks. Like, let's not act like we don't watch the games and know that the pitching's not very good. Don't give me that they're 4 and 5 in the league. Come on, that's nonsense. We watch the games. We know it's not good. Everybody else is saying it. You just don't want to listen and don't want to hear it from everybody, from SNY broadcast to national broadcast, and even their own manager brought it up on WFAN today when he spoke to Salicata. He said it. Yes, I need my guys to go deeper, but the same manager says that, but takes out Clay Holmes in 75 pitches yesterday when the game was in hand. Makes no sense. So stop it. You got guys that can't go deep into games. They don't pitch very well. And we're not going to talk about the rotation. Like that is going to be our problem if we make the playoffs. I'm telling you that right now. Because most of the guys in this rotation, again, we're all talking about Kodai Senga, right? The guy has not pitched more than 100 innings since 2023. He didn't pitch last year. So how do we know we can do it just automatically as our number 2 pitcher in our rotation? pleased with that nonsense. I said it from the beginning. You needed a better starter. You wanted to get Max Fried. Yeah, Corbin Burns got hurt. Boo-hoo. I understand that, but the guy was a guy that was mostly healthy the majority of his career. You can't predict injuries. Even though, oh, by the way, the cheaper route got people injured anyway. So what's the difference? And at the trade deadline, he had an opportunity. He had the money. He had the prospects. He didn't do it because he didn't want to overpay. So he's being just like every other team that didn't want to overpay. And then he's going to sit there and have status quo. But those guys, those teams that didn't want to overpay, which are contenders, by the way, look at the top of their rotation. I guarantee you they got a better starter than the New York Mets. Maybe even two. That's my problem. You could fix it. You had an opportunity to fix it. You can't fix the offense. There's nobody better in the offseason than Juan Soto on the market. Nobody was caring. Nobody was getting Bellinger. Nobody was getting anybody else. Nobody was talking about any other hitter. Only people talking and criticizing Juan Soto was about his defense, not about the hitting. If anybody predicted that Juan Soto was going to be this bad this year, I'm still waiting for you. And don't say it now because a lot of you are on this channel. Like, it's... Yeah, Dolo, of course Juan Soto played better with Judge. You know what? Me and you would be a better hitter in front of Judge. But let's not act like Juan Soto didn't have really damn good seasons outside of being a Yankee. He had MVP caliber type seasons other than with the Yankees. Let's not act like this guy never had a good year and went to the Yankees and had a good year in a contract year. Come on. He's on pace to hit 35 home runs. So if you really do the math, those 41 home runs to the 35 home runs is a 6 home run difference, right? But he played at Yankee Stadium. Yankee Stadium had a lot to do with that home runs than Aaron Judge. So how many baby home runs did he get in right field? Probably around a handful, right? So that gives you around 35 home runs if you're being in a normal ballpark. So he's probably going to hit 35 home runs. He's not going to get the average up to where he needs to be in 280, 290. He's probably going to bat 260 this year if we're lucky. He's probably going to hit 95 RBIs. So besides average, his numbers are exactly where his career stats are. But again, I talk about stats all the time where the stats don't tell the whole story. And this is where Met fans get upset when I talk about Pete Alonso and Brandon Nimmo. Like, Juan Soto had one hot month up until this point, and that was June. In that month, he literally padded his stats where he can have 35 home runs and 95 RBIs by just having that hot-ass month. Like, that shows you that when somebody brings up stats as an argument, and I go, no, look at the whole picture. Did you watch all the games? Like, that's the problem. That's why when Pete Alonso probably... So let me get this straight, guys. There's a possibility that Juan Soto and Pete Alonso are going to have around the exact same home runs because they're neck and neck home runs wise. Unless Pete Alonso goes off, he ain't hitting 40 home runs. He might get the 35 too. So our big bad power hitter is going to have the same amount of home runs as Juan Soto. And there's a possibility that we might have Nimmo and Lindor be 30 home run guys. Like, that's why the stats, when you give me stats as an argument, is just so ridiculous because it just doesn't make sense. So they're just not playing good. Everybody's having a down season. Like, Pete Alonso has not been good since May. Lindor looked a little bit better the last 2 games in his series, but obviously nobody looked good today. And I don't know, man. Yeah, Danny, exactly. Like I said, he's on pace to hit his numbers on the back of his baseball card from his career when it comes to home runs and RBIs. right? Nobody cares about average. I do, but nobody cares about average. So I don't want to hear people talk about average now when he's batting 30 points or 25, 30 points under his career average. Well, Joanne, exactly. That's my point, right? You can look at the stats and say, look at the year he had, but if you watch every game, we know those 35 home runs again. He can, if he hits 10 more home runs for the rest of the year, and he hits a lot of solo home runs, that's one of the arguments. How many solo home runs has he hit? A lot. Right? So, like, and you can go to Pete Alonso. How many big home runs did Pete Alonso hit? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the thing. Like, there's an argument for everything with those stats. But when people only bring stats, Joanne, exactly. 2024 was Pete Alonso's a lot of, meaningless home runs. 100% agree. That is spot on because that's exactly what I said last year. Yeah. And you know what? Pete Alonso average with runners in scoring position is another flawed stat because if you look what it was in April and May, by the end of May, look at his average with runners in scoring position. It was around. It was basically over 400. And it went down about 30 to 40 points. He's around 345, 350. That is a huge gap. That is a drastic 50, almost a 50-point gap from what it was in May until now. So it looks good on paper, but when your at-bats go up, it's very hard to get that number drastically down. Right? It's simple math. It's just really, really frustrating. Like, I don't have an answer. I don't have, a way to get this team or this offense to become better. You couldn't do it in the offseason. You got the best bat on the market in Juan Soto. You couldn't do it at the deadline because, again, people can say Eugenio Suarez. You have too many people on the roster that's already infielders. David Stearns wasn't doing that. Like that's my problem. Like, he lived and died with the younger players at positions where ultimately they've made a big hole in this lineup. In, Vientos and Acuna and Beatty and Mauricio. They're not good enough. So David Stearns made his bed with those guys and says, I'm fighting through it with them. And this is the result you get with those guys. Nothing. So that was the only guy that could actually be a possibility of helping this offense. But we've seen this lineup with one guy getting red hot. It doesn't help us win. You need 2 or 3 guys hot at least 2 guys hot at the same time. And that's rare with this team through the first 115 games of the season. I mean, one was both 2 guys at the top 4 of this lineup hot at the same time. When were they red hot for 1 month? They all had individual hot months. Like, you can't, it's very hard to win that way. Yeah, Joanne, but you know what? There isn't a lot of 280 hitters with 30 home runs. There's a lot of 240 hitters with 30 home runs. Baseball isn't like that. Nobody cares about average anymore. So I bring up average, I get laughed at. Nobody cares about average. Nobody cares about average. They care about home runs, RBIs, OPS. That's it. When everybody gives me an argument about OPS, does anybody think Juan Soto's having a good year? You want to see his OPS? Okay, let's check his OPS. Let's have fun. Let's check it. All right. All right. Here we go. Let's check it out. Okay. Juan Soto's OPS is 860. Does anybody think that argument for OPS meaning he's having a good season? Why? That's why I don't like OPS as an end-all be-all stat. Because everybody uses the argument about OPS. Look at his OPS. Look at his OPS. OPS means nothing. It's a useful stat, but it doesn't tell the whole story. Exactly, my holy. It has a lot to do with the walks, which is good if he's doing what he's doing. When you're going to see the 35 home runs and 95 RBIs, 90 to 95 RBIs, which is where he should be home run and RBI wise. But it's the lack of hits with runners in scoring position. He's one hit away for 100 hits this year. In total, he had 100. Listen, just think of this, guys. Let me just show you something, guys. Let me see if I can find that set. Hold on. Right? He had 166 hits last year. He has 99 this year. I don't think he's going to get another 67 hits to reach his career his hits last year. But there's a pretty good chance that he's going to get to his second highest, which was around 150, 140, 127. He's going to be in that range. So he's going to have around 120 hits. But we all know it's not good. That's what I'm saying. Like, people bring up OPS, and that is not all about what they do with the bat. It's about how many times you walk. And it's crazy to me because people use OPS and they'll live and die on the argument of OPS. Like, if you listen to WFN BT with Sal and BT talks about OPS and he lives and dies off of that. Lives and dies. And a lot of people do. And it's so annoying because these analytical morons act like an average don't matter and strikeouts don't matter. Analytics basically says strikeouts don't matter and average don't matter. That is the most idiotic thing. If anybody knows baseball, anybody plays baseball, that is the worst thing you can do with runners on base is strike out. You're not moving the runners over. You're not taking a walk. You're not advancing the base runners. You're not doing anything. You're not driving them in, nothing. And that's what happens. And we all know that. I just don't understand it. Like, it's so goddamn frustrating. Yeah, Marcus, look, I'm fine with David Peterson, but to call him our ace is the main problem with the roster construction of the rotation. Do you know how good this pitcher would be if Peterson was this good as our number 3? If you actually had real top 2 starters, not this fake shit that everybody's telling us that they're good pitchers. Sean Manaea has been a solid pitcher the majority of his career. Solid. Never had a year like he had last year. And everybody just pronounces him an ace. Kodai Senga, who's done nothing for this team and consistently doesn't give the innings, has 6 days off all the time, gets extra rest, and still can't throw 100 pitches, still can't give you quality starts enough to warrant just to going 4 or 5 innings, and he'll throw 90 pitches in the 4 or 5 innings. Like, this is not a good rotation. So David Peterson is stuck trying to be a stopper. He's trying to be the stopper to get us out of the rut to win a game. He's got to go deep into games because nobody else does. And he has to pitch well. Like, this is the guy that 90% of Mets fans did not want this guy on the team when he came back from hip surgery last year. This is who we're relying on. And I like David Peterson, but David Peterson isn't going to make or break this team. He is not going to help us win anything. Not by himself. Somebody else got to help him in this rotation. Like, I told you about Sean Manaea. Like, Sean Manaea, even though we took a discount for the Mets, is a fucking overpay. You could have spent a few $1 million more to get somebody much better. And you didn't do it because you didn't want to give a long-term deal to any pitcher. So you don't want to give a long-term deal to any pitcher that's any good. You don't want to trade for a starting pitcher to help your team. And you're not bringing one of the prospects or 2 of the prospects up until the middle of August. So I'll tell you guys, like, it's so frustrating. It just doesn't make sense anymore. Like, the roster construction is terrible. The pitching philosophy that is brought to you by David Stearns is not a successful winning philosophy. It's not. If it was, they would have worked very well in Milwaukee, but it really didn't. Because how far did they get? They got as far as the Mets got last year. That's it. That's as far as they got. No World Series appearance. Obviously, no World Series championship. And that's when he has Corbin Burns and Woodruff. So, like, the philosophy sucks. And if you don't see that, then you got brainwashed by David Stearns. You can't put duct tape and crazy glue on a rotation and act like it's going to work out. There's too many hope. There's too much hope. I hope this guy, low risk, high reward should be, this guy used to be good, but you know what? I can get him for a little bit cheaper because he hasn't been good in 2, 3, 4 years, couple of years. So I can get him on the cheap, but he could have a high reward and he might pitch very well and he might be our number 4 starter. You can't say that for a top starter like Shomania or somebody that you're saying is the top starter. Like, it doesn't make sense. Let's use Clay Holmes. Clay Holmes technically is our number 3 starter. But technically, he's not a starting pitcher. So what the fuck are we doing? Are we playing baseball or are we trying to play fantasy sports here? Like, this is the biggest problem that I just don't understand why people don't care to talk about. And there's too many people that are convinced that long-term deals for top starting pitcher is not worth it. They are moronic. If you don't believe that, you're an idiot. Because any long-term deal for a starting pitcher, you're only looking at the first 4 years. If you're going to give all these stupid guys that are not very good, because most of the guys that take shorter-term deals aren't very good, or they're average at best. You're going to give 2-year deals here, 2-year deals here, 2 years with an opt-out, 3 years with an opt-out. Like, we're doing all this, but none of them are any good. And you're hoping somebody actually performs better than expected. You can't continue to do that with almost everybody on your rotation that you brought in here. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, you brought in Montage thinking that he would be better than what he was. But, again, it wasn't supposed to be all about Montage because he was going to be your 4th or 5th starter. And I never thought Shomania was going to pitch like he did last year. I thought he was going to take a pretty good step back. Because why wouldn't he? That was one of his best years of his career last year. Would us assume at the age 32 that he's going to just miraculously be that same pitcher for the remainder of his contract? Come on. That's stupid. And we still don't know if he can stay healthy. What is this, his 4th start back? We're relying on Kodai Senga, who's supposed to be a number 2. He kind of pitches like a number 4. And we have a gimmick ghost fork. We got, too many people act like Kodai Senga is the end all be all. And this is what we deal with. When you sign mediocre pitching, you're going to get mediocre results. Because you not only need one guy to work out, you need multiple guys to work out. And how many times did that really happen, guys? How many times? Like, everybody talks about, look at Luis Severino and Mania last year, right? These guys used to be good. We knew Luis Severino still had great stuff. He just couldn't stay healthy. The Mets figured out whatever they did, they figured out to keep him healthy. His stuff was always there. So if he stayed healthy, he was going to pitch well. Shomania, it wasn't like he was coming in and just lighting people up. He changed his entire mechanics that he never did in his career because he saw Chris Sale do it when they were facing the Braves, and changed his whole mechanical way of throwing the ball that he did his entire career. And it ultimately got him hurt. And I said that in the offseason. I don't want to shine Shomania. Why? You're giving him $20 million for a guy that completely changed his mechanics and is going to get hurt. It like, nobody believed me, but it was a fact. This is the problem. You gave $20 million to a slightly above average pitcher that had his best year in like 5 years. It doesn't make sense. It's annoying because it could have been better. There were pitchers on the market that were much better than anybody they brought in here. Too many reclamation projects seem to not work. All right, this ain't you can't talk about World Series contention and give me a rotation that I can't even wipe my ass with. I'm sorry. It's terrible. Like, more people need to be more frustrated. This is on David Stearns. He put this rotation together because this is his philosophy. All his hope is relying on those kids in the minor leagues. And still not willing to bring them up because he wants that year of control still. So it's not about winning. That's not the ultimate goal. That's not your number one goal, which it always should be, running an organization. And if that's anywhere near less than a number one, then you're really not trying to win. You're trying to win by your philosophy and not going away from it. It's very hard to do that. Again, you got to be a little bit uncomfortable. You don't like signing long-term deals for starting pitcher? Maybe you have to. You don't want to trade top prospects and overpay for a top-line starting pitcher? Well, you didn't have to if you would have got a top-line starting pitcher in the offseason. You have the money, you have the prospects. Do one. Don't sit there and tell me that this rotation is good. He said it after the deadline. Like, what the fuck are you watching? Like, are you playing MLB The Show and we're just not paying attention? Bob, who? How many guys were on the market? I'm not even talking about top guys. I'm talking about above average pitchers. Most of them are probably better than these guys, right? I didn't want Max Fried, right? I'll be the first one to tell you. I didn't say that in the offseason. I wanted Corbin Burns. But again, you can't predict injuries, right? Everybody wanted Sean Manaea back. He got hurt. So you paid $20 million for an injured pitcher. I would have preferred Corbin Burns or Max Fried. Those are the best guys out there, right? You can't predict injuries. So don't tell me now because you can't do it after the fact and say, oh, Corbin Burns got hurt. I understand that. But also Sean Manaea got hurt. Kodai Senga got hurt. Frankie Montas got hurt. Between Sean Manaea and Frankie Montas is $37 million this year. You could have got one top-line starter for about $28 million. Yeah, I understand that, Bob. But, look, the Arizona Diamondbacks are having a bad year, right? He wasn't pitching well. Completely agree. But here's the other problem. We just assume that pitcher is going to pitch the same way he did with another team. Oh, Bob, I agree. Like, sure, Walker Buehler, I think he would be fun. But again, I think it's where they play as well and the circumstances as well, to be honest with you. Like, I don't think Sean Manaea was a bad move, but I wouldn't have signed him and acting like he's the ace of the staff. That is idiotic. I'm sorry. The guy hasn't been good in 5 years. And he pitched one good year by changing his mechanics, and he gave him $20 million. Yeah, Bob, you could have traded for Alcantara. Like, why did we just assume that he wasn't going to pitch well? Have you seen his numbers since the All-Star break? He hasn't really had a bad start. Bob, you could have. I just named you guys. You don't want to hear it, but that's it. Those are the guys. Right? Don't predict injuries. You can't predict injuries when they're healthy. Right? You can't predict injuries. You can't. I don't care who you are. It's a $5 million pitcher or $30 million pitcher. You can't predict injuries. So you can't predict injuries. So I don't want to hear, oh, well, Corbin Burns got injured. He wasn't injured when he was in the offseason. Same thing for Max Fried. Max Fried had multiple injuries the last couple of seasons, yet he's still healthy and still pitching. So I don't even care. Max Fried, even when he hasn't been pitching well the last 5 starts, is a lot better than any of these guys we have in our rotation. You could have traded for Sandy Alcantara. He's been much better over his last 5 starts than he was the rest of the year. So you could have got him. Merrill Kelly, that some people wanted in this chat during the trade shows, he has a better overall stats than everybody. That means more innings because he just didn't pitch well. He actually gives you innings. The problem with this rotation is that they pitch bad and give you no length. You see what David Peterson did today, right? It wasn't a good start. But what did he do to help the team other than obviously he didn't help giving up runs and not have a good stat line. He threw 6 innings. When you're a good pitcher or above average pitcher, at least, if you don't have a good start, at least protect your bullpen. That's how you help your team. And David Peterson gave you 6 innings. It wasn't a good stat line, but at least he gave you 6 innings to try to protect the bullpen, so you didn't have to use 4 or 5 guys. Because today we used 2 guys, and we used 1 high leverage guy in Reed Gary, and the other one was Hageman. McLean is the ace. No, he's not. Why? Because he has great AAA numbers? I can name you 40 guys that have good AAA numbers that never turned out anything in the major leagues. Right? You remember Michael Fulmer, who we traded for Yoenis Cespedes? What did he turn into? An average starter that ultimately went into the bullpen. It wasn't very good there either. Right? You could bring up Noah McLean. Like, I want to see the kid. I'm all on board with you. But here's what you're not talking about, Bob. And you seem to be a prospect hugger, because I'm just assuming you are. Right? Noah McLean already has thrown, 110, 111 innings now? I think he just had another start. These guys have innings restrictions. Bob, I don't even think it would have took that. I think it would have been one of those guys and a couple of other position player prospects. I truly believe that. Like, Noah McLean and Jonah Tong and Brandon Sproat. Don't even talk about Jonah Tong. He's not coming up this year. It's going to be Sproat and McLean or one of them. But even those guys, they're on innings limits, innings restrictions. We're going to get 4 to 5 innings from those guys as well. They're taking those guys out. They're not getting over 90 pitches. They're going 4 or 5 innings. Good, Bob. 3 top 5s, the Mets have that. You could have gave one of the – look, I would have gave any one of those pitching prospects along with other top 5s. I would have gave Jet Williams up, to be quite honest with you. Where's Jet Williams playing? Don't tell me center field. All right, he might be very – we got Carson Bench, right? We got Ryan Clifford, our top outfield prospects. You couldn't have gave one of them? Even if you think Carson Bench is going to be the best one. What are we doing with all these guys? Each one of these guys are blocking each other. Okay, Bob, well, there you go, your prospect hugger. So you ultimately don't want to win. You want to win and you want your cake and you want to eat it too. That's what it is. That's the problem. You got to get a little uncomfortable. You either got to get a little uncomfortable spending money, which David Stern's scared to do. He's one of the guys that goes to bodega and tries to negotiate to try to get a sandwich. Like, that's that type of guy. Like, you can't have both ways. Like, you're not willing to give up these prospects because I know Noah McLean's going to be, Tom Seaver. Jonah Tong's going to be Jacob deGrom. I know. I can't wait. But here's what they're not doing. They're not fucking helping this team now. I can give a shit about AAA numbers. They mean absolutely nothing. AAA numbers aren't that important to me at all. And I know those guys had AA numbers that were very good as well. Great. Like, But you are a prospect cover. You're not willing to give up what I just told you, and that's your problem, and that's David Stearns' problem. Like, you ultimately want to win, but not by any means necessary. Right? You just want to do just enough to say that you tried, but ultimately it didn't work out. It just doesn't make sense. David Stearns talks about these prospects multiple times throughout the trade deadline, before the trade deadline, after the trade deadline. Like, this is the best thing since, sliced bread. Then if they're so good, bring them up. Don't worry about the 1 year of control you're going to use. I think we can all agree with that, right? Like, but you just said that, Bob. I told you what you want to give. I would have gave any one of those starting pitchers. I guarantee you could have gave you know what? Instead of getting Tyler Rogers, you could have put Tidwell. You could have put either Tong, McLean, or Sproat. I don't give a shit which one. Because in all likelihood, out of the 3 pitches, one might be very good. Like, let's be honest. Like, you really think all 3 of these guys? Like, haven't we seen this story before? What, this is like Generation K 3.0 now. Generation K in the 90s, that was a disaster. Generation 2.0 with DeGrom, Syndergaard, Matz, Harvey, all those guys, it lasted 3 years. And then here we go again with Generation K 3.0. Like, we're worrying about a year of control that is not going to affect us until 2029, 2030. These guys could help us. Like, let's not act like these guys are the saviors, because you're an idiot if you think so. They're on innings limits. You still got 2 months of the season, and they just threw a couple more innings, all 3 of them. They're on innings limits. Like, you think these guys are going to come up here and throw 7 innings, 6 innings? No, they're not. You're out of your mind if you believe that. And if you believe that, you're very naive. I can sell you a pile of shit. Seriously. Like, you guys are lost with this nonsense. Like, this is not a position player like a Michael Conforto situation. A team needed offense. Michael Conforto can play every day. You're not limited to his at-bats. They're limiting their innings. They're probably at a cap or around 135 to 145. That's like 4 or 5 more starts, maybe. And what happens if they do pitch well? You think the Mets are gonna extend all these guys into the playoffs too? You really think David Stearns, who is Mr. Hesitant, and do that? You're out of your mind. I'm sorry, but you're drinking the Kool-Aid. Because again, David Stearns did exactly what I said that he was going to do. He never really tried for a starting pitcher, at least not hard enough. And he knew, because why else would you come on? There was not one GM in baseball that got on 30 minutes after the deadline and could not wait to tell you about Paul Blackburn, couldn't wait to tell you about Tyler McGill, and could not wait to talk about the pitching prospects. Couldn't wait. Could not wait, because he know he fucked up. He know he failed. And the only thing to shut up Met fans, because he had a pretty decent deadline when it came to revamping the bullpen and getting a center fielder that hasn't really done much yet, but he is an upgrade over Tyrone Taylor. He's solid defensively, and I think he's ultimately going to be better offensively than Tyrone Taylor. He could not wait to get on TV and talk about the prospect pitchers. Couldn't wait, because he knows it was going to shut up the fans. It was going to excite the fan base, because the fan base drank the goddamn Kool-Aid. Senga's very trash. I don't care what anybody says. This guy does not perform at all. I don't care about his fucking ERA. His ERA gives me 4 innings on a regular basis. The guy cannot pitch every 5th day, and how that's going to work out in the playoffs, let me know. This guy is not going to be able to pitch twice in a 5-game series. He's barely going to pitch twice in a 7-game series, when if he is your quote-unquote ace, Your ace should be ready for a game 7. He should be able to at least give you a few innings in the third game that he can pitch in the postseason. He should pitch 1, 4, and 7. You really think Kodai Senga is doing that? He can't even pitch every 6th day. No, David, he has not been great when he's fully rested. Out of the All-Star break, had 10 days off. He threw 3 innings. After that, 5 days off. He pitched on the 6th day. He gave you 4 innings. The next time, 6 days, he got 5 days rest, pitched on the 6th day. Guess what? He gave you 4 innings again and not pitch well. Name all the aces in the league. Here's what I care about. The Mets don't have none. Who cares about the other teams? Who cares? Mike, I've been talking about the offense. But we couldn't change that at the deadline. Couldn't change it in the offseason because the best hitter on the market was Juan Soto. So we got the better hitter. He's just not performing, just like everybody else. So I'm focusing in on what we could have changed at the deadline. You got the relievers, you got a center fielder. But ultimately, what was available, just because you didn't feel like overpaying, doesn't mean it weren't available. You didn't want to overpay. Okay, but when you ultimately lose, the one thing you could have fixed with prospects was that. Because if you're not helping if you're not using the prospects to help you when you need them, and you need them, last time I checked, that's why. No, David, no. I never said Senga was an ace. Go back to any show. I was so pissed off that Senga even made an appearance in the postseason. Senga, I never said he was an ace. I don't consider him an ace when he can't pitch every 5th day. He is not a guy that I trust going into any big game. Because even with the extra rest, he still finds ways to struggle more often than not. He throws 90-plus pitches in 4 innings. He constantly puts people on base. That's a recipe for disaster. I'm sorry, but he's not. Name a contending team, and I don't care about the Marlins or teams that are not that good. Mitch Keller is better than everybody in this rotation because he gives you innings and he'll give you a quality start more often than not, unlike any of the Mets except for David Peterson. And even David Peterson has a blunder like today. Yeah, David, I don't believe he will. Senga's not going to surprise me at all. If he does, I'd love to come on here and say I was wrong. I would. But I don't believe it. I don't believe it at all. Like, all the contenders in the National League, I guarantee you, let's do it. Let me turn off my flashlight before I blind people. Let's see. All right, let's see. Let's go around the National League because that's fun, right? That's the teams you got to worry about before you even worried about American League team, right? All right, let's see. All right. I like this. This is fun. Imanaga. Not even close. Shota Imanaga. Let's check his stats. 3.12. He's thrown, let's see. Now, he was hurt, so we throw 89.11, right? Innings. Or he was hurt. Fine. Matthew Boyd. How's he doing? Wow. 2.34. Wish we had that guy. He's thrown 130 innings. Who's done that other than David Peterson? Nobody. Nobody pitched better than him. Right? Shomaniah just came back. He's injured, so we can't count him, right? Injury matters, right? You got to stay healthy to help your team. Kodai Senga sucks and also got injured. No, I'm just saying, like, don't give me an ace. Like, if you want to bring up Shomaniah as being an ace, and you can have an argument for him because of what he did last year. But right now, you can't believe in Shomaniah yet until we actually feel like he can remain healthy. Let him get through 2 months of a season and let's see if he can stay healthy. I'm sorry. I can't have a guy that's my ace. If people are going to call, yeah, David, we had injuries. Availability matters. And Senga has been often hurt. I'm telling you, he's a soft tissue injury waiting to happen. I don't call a guy an ace. And again, if you want to have an argument about Minaya being an ace, we can argue about that. I would even give you a little more credit having a conversation about that. But Kodai Senga's not an ace. The guy can't pitch every fifth day. He has a 5 ERA when he pitches on normal rest. You got to give him extra rest, which hurts our overall rotation because you got to give him an extra day. So if he's so good, you want him in there more, not less. Doesn't make sense. David, you really think they're going to bring up 3 young arms? You're out of your mind. Jonah Tong's in AA. The only thing Jonah Tong's going to do is if McLean or Sproat come up, Tong is going to replace them in the rotation at AAA. Now, I would bring McLean and Sproat up because why not? But again, don't get too excited. Like, I'm going to get excited seeing these guys because that's all we heard about these guys, right? I don't care about their numbers. I really don't care about AAA numbers. I don't. Wake me up when they do it in the major leagues, when they're helping this team win, right? Not their faults. I'm not blaming them. They can only do what they can do. I blame David Stearns. Like, you're more concerned about the year of control, the extra year of control, than winning. Because maybe these guys could help us. Imagine bringing them up in June when we really needed rotation help. If we would have brought them up in June, they would have a hell of a lot less innings than they do now. And you could have used those innings and hopefully help them get major league experience and help this team win. But they didn't do that. And now they're already, all of them are going to be over the 100 innings mark by the time these guys come up. They're definitely capped around 140 to 150. That's only a few more starts, 3 or 4 starts. So again, we're acting like these guys are going to come up and pitch 6 innings, throw 100 pitches, maybe 7 occasionally. They're not doing that. They're coming out in the 5th inning, at most the 5th inning. Yeah, Dave, you can bring up all 3, but they're not doing that. David Stern made his own bet. When you don't spend on a good start in pitching, top line starters you didn't want to spend money on, okay, fine, right? People convinced me. We got the trade deadline. And then you don't trade any of your top 7 prospects and don't get a starting pitcher. Even an above average starting pitcher you didn't even get. At least last year you got Paul Blackburn, even though that was a useless waste of time. But at least he got a starting pitcher. He didn't even do that. Like, he cannot be convinced this rotation is good. If he is, seriously, he's got to get his brain checked out because it doesn't make no sense. So the offense sucks. I don't know what else the Mets could have done. Again, nobody's giving me better ideas of who could have came in this lineup, right? You talk about Eugenio Suarez. Stearns has told you, we got Vientos, we got Mauricio, we got Beatty, we got Acuna. He didn't even trade those guys. So there you go. So your third baseman is a bunch of useless prospects. You know what's sad? Stroman might pitch better than everybody. Isn't that sad? Oh, man. Well, unfortunately, we got to play the Brewers tomorrow, guys. I'm so glad I go to work in the middle of the night because I'm gonna be going to sleep. Maybe I'll watch the first 2 innings, but I'd be at work early in the morning. Or early in overnight. So thank God. I'll listen to it on the radio. How he makes me feel better when I listen to him. It's the best way to listen to baseball. But like, if I'm watching it, I'm gonna punch my TV. Like, seriously, I was so pissed off today. You don't even know. Like, I cursed out everybody. Like, if the TV can hear. Like, seriously. Like every batter that came. What are you doing? Oh, guys, I'm so annoyed. I don't know, man. I really don't know. So, guys, I apologize for being an angry guy and a frustrated guy, but isn't that a fan, right? I want to win. And I don't feel like our GM is doing everything he could to help us win. I think he keeps his philosophy intact. And if we win, great. If we don't, he'll talk about sustainability because that's his favorite word to use. Like, what is the point of sustainability if you're going to end up like the Milwaukee Brewers, who make the playoffs in David Stern's tenure, 7 out of 8 years, and never got past the NLCS? Like, yeah, sustainability is fun until you keep on losing in the playoffs, and then it's not fun anymore. At some point, you got to win. So I'm going to go eat. I'm hungry. Maybe a drink. Maybe something on the rocks. I don't know. Relax the nerves a little bit because, I got group text messages all over the place from coworkers that are Met fans, from my friends in New York. I don't even want to read them. Like seriously, guys, I got 72 text messages from 2 of my group Mets chats. Like, I'm not reading that. Like, I'm not. Like, it's just going to annoy me more. So, with that said, guys, thank you for tuning in to the Mets postgame show right here on the channel as the Mets nearly get no hit. But at the end, Juan Soto hits a useless home run. The no-hitter is gone. But it slowed down the inevitable of the Mets getting swept by the Cleveland Guardians, went 1-5 in his homestand, and now we're facing the best team in the National League for 3 games. So can't wait. Very excited. Montas is going to pitch. Who else is going to pitch? Senga. Oh, can't wait for his 4 innings. With that said, guys, have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday if you can. And I'll see you tomorrow for a Mets pregame show to preview Mets versus Brewers. Have a good night, guys. And I'll see you tomorrow. Let's go, Mets.
Meet the Mets, meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life because the Mets